People often think that because they have a disease caused by asbestos, that they can just file a lawsuit and get a recovery. And while you can file a lawsuit, the first problem that you have in initiating that legal action is identifying the proper defendants to the case. Because we talked about earlier, there were so many different products that were put into the stream of commerce that contained asbestos. You then have to sort out which products that particular individual was exposed to that would have caused their particular disease. Now, what we see from a medical standpoint is that the doctors say it's the cumulative dose of the asbestos fibers that causes the disease. It's not just one fiber from one product that causes it. It's that cumulative dose or fiber burden that's called in the tissue. So under the law, the accountability of that is the cumulative dose from each of the defendants that you were exposed to. So one individual may just have almost all of their exposure from one company. Maybe they worked for an asbestos company for many years, and that was really their only exposure, just making the products of asbestos within that plant. But typically what you see is somebody will work in the industrial trades, and there may be, for instance, pipe insulation that you use in an oil refinery, and that person's exposed to it by either putting that product on or taking it off, or maybe they're a carpenter and they're just working around the insulators that are using the products, and you're exposed indirectly. And those insulation products may be made by 15 or 20 different competitors. And so you go back to see which of those competitors provided the product at that facility. And maybe one did, maybe 10 did, in which case you bring your claims against whichever ones are identified. And then of course there's other sources of exposure too. You can have the person also exposed from working on boilers and pumps and compressors where other products were manufactured. So that's called the product identification part of the case, and it's incumbent upon the lawyers to work with the claimant and their co-workers, purchasing agents and others to go back and recreate the history of their exposure to learn what it was they were exposed to and who the manufacturers were.